Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Langer at the Mic, live once again here from our temporary studio in Montreal. We are just about over 24 hours away from the start of the NFL season, and I decided that we're gonna do a whole lot of football content coming one by one by one. Here we got the Cowboys. A Cowboys preview coming up. We're going to do a record prediction right now, and I think I'm also going to do a pick 'em here live on my channel. So let's get right into it. In this particular stream, we're going to do a game by game record prediction of what I think the 2021 Dallas Cowboys season would look like. So let's just get right into it. So here, let's just open the other screen right over here. There we go. Okay. So starting with tomorrow night, Cowboys Bucks, defending Super Bowl champions, against someone named Tom Brady, who I am on record for saying he is not the best quarterback of all time, but I'm not here to argue that right now. I'll maybe argue about that at a future date and time, but for now, just going to predict the Cowboys schedule. Opening up against the Bucks next week, we also have some news that Zach Martin officially will not play. However, and that Connor McGovern will replace him at right guard. But the good news is, though, that Lyle Collins seems pretty much on track to be playing, and that is very, very important for the Cowboys' ability to protect against the defensive front for the Bucks that held the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, to only 9 points in the Super Bowl, which we'll get into a little bit later. But for now, against the Bucks, love Dak coming back. Also, I'm really excited to see what Dak can do this year. I think he's going to be at the level that he was at the beginning of the 2020 season, just slinging it all year. I think the ankle injuries, the shoulder injury that he dealt with in training camp, he's just mentally strong enough to overcome that. So I'm going to but despite all of that, going up against the Bucks right off the bat, the Cowboys, I'm not saying they don't have a chance in this one, but I'm going to give them an L over here. So they will start the season 0-1 after week 1. But let me remind you guys a couple of things, that it's only week 1. And also in the Cowboys' best seasons in recent memory, that would be 2014. That would be 2018. Missing one in there also. Am I missing one in there? 2014, 2018, and 2016, of course. Hello, there you go. The Cowboys started with a loss in week 1. They started with a loss in week 1 last year as well, and we all know how that ended. But still, Tom Brady and the Bucks, just more so, not so much Tom Brady, but more so just what they have on offense. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones II, that really good offensive line. And then the defense, of course, the front seven, Devin White, and Ndamukong Suh, and Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea, just for those reasons primarily, not so much because of Tom Brady, but that is why the Cowboys will have a lot to overcome in week 1, and I'm giving them an L right off the bat. But week 2 against the Chargers, honestly, the Cowboys could very well fall 0-2 here. But I will say this, though. If the Cowboys upset the Bucks in week 1, they will lose the Chargers in LA in week 2, going at LA. So, given that the Cowboys lost to the Bucks to open the season, I honestly, in this situation at least, I think the Cowboys will come back strong and they will beat Justin Herbert and Rashawn Slater and be 1-1 after week 2. I'm not going to waste too much time about this one. Eagles are trash. If the Cowboys lose this game at home on Monday Night Football against the Eagles, Jalen Hurts and the mess that they have there in Philly, I mean, sure, I guess they still have a decent pass rush with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham still there. So, besides that, I still just the Cowboys beat the Eagles in like week 16 last year at home and crushed them with Andy Dalton and with a beat-up offensive line. So, again, not going to waste much more time talking about that. This will be a W for the Cowboys. They'll be 2-1 after week 3. Now, this one, at home against the Panthers. They got 3 home games in a row, and honestly, they should win all 3 of these games. Carolina, I with Sam Darnold, I almost said Aaron Donald. Anyway, good thing the Cowboys don't have to face Aaron Donald until maybe the playoffs this year. But yeah, just against the Panthers at home, I like. I'm not going to completely count out the Panthers here. They could be really, really bad, but they could also surprise a little bit, like they did at times last year. Because I find that even in the games that they lost, they were pretty competitive last year for the most part. But with that being said, still, this is a game the Cowboys should win, and I will give them the win. They'll be 3-1 after 4 weeks. And now this is another one at home, prime time against prime time ish, 4:15 or 3:25 Central Time against the Giants at home. There's no reason the Cowboys should lose this game. I'm giving another W. Simply the Giants. Look, I don't hate their defense. I don't hate their coaching and Joe Judge, but I hate their coaching in Jason Garrett and the offense that is run by Daniel Jones. Yeah, Saquon and they have Kenny Golladay now, but at the end of the day, if you lose to a team with an offense run by Daniel Jones and Jason Garrett, it's not because you got beat, it's because you suck. So that's basically it. Cowboys will be 4-1 after through what is this now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season. But then against New England on the road, this is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie, this is a very tough one to decide. Yeah, I'm kind of stumped here because, like, honestly, rookie quarterback or Bill Belichick? Like, are the Cowboys going to lose to Mac Jones now under center? Will Mac Jones still be the starter under center? Sure, the Patriots released Cam Newton, but they are still run by Bill Belichick, and they still made a lot of moves this offseason to their offensive line and supplement their defense and all that to make up for everything they lost, especially in the COVID year. I think I'm going to give the Cowboys an L in this one. I think, yeah, Bill Belichick is just, the Cowboys have not beat the Patriots in a long time, and they have not beaten Bill Belichick. I don't think have beaten Tom Brady and Bill Belichick yet. Honestly, I know they only play the Patriots like every 4 years, and now like every, I guess, 2.5 years or 4.5 years with the new added schedule. But yeah, I feel like this is going to be a loss going into their bye. So I'm going to give them an L. But they'll still be a respectable 4-2 going into their bye week. But going at Minnesota, prime time at Minnesota. I know this sounds really dumb, but if Minnesota is going to be good this year, which they weren't last year, but if Minnesota is going to be good this year, this is an L. And if they're bad this year, that's going to be a W. So in this game, I have a feeling they split the Vikings-Patriots games. Yeah. I have a feeling that they will split those two games. So if it's either they win at New England and lose at Minnesota, or they lose at New England and win at Minnesota. So I will go with a W here. Prime time, Sunday night in Minnesota. It's been weird the last several Cowboys-Vikings matchups because 2019 Vikings Cowboys at home against the Vikings. Cowboys should have won that game, but they lost. And then 2020 Cowboys at Minnesota against the Vikings. They should have lost that game, but they won. So, yeah, honestly, I find Cowboys-Vikings games very tough to evaluate over the last couple of years. But honestly, I think they'll split this 1-1 over here. This is still the easy part of their schedule. So I think 5-2 through, what is this, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is a fair estimate. Could just look at 5-2, did 7 + 1. But anyway, so through 8 weeks, I think the Cowboys can realistically be 5-2, at best 6-1, at worst 5-3, because again, that's the easy part of their schedule. Now, Denver at home. This is a game that I am very. There might not be much on the line because it's like an inter-conference opponent. But remember, on draft night, the Denver Broncos, instead of taking Justin Fields, decided to draft Patrick Surtain II, the cornerback out of Alabama, a guy that the Cowboys were pretty much all like definitely going to select at 10 overall. But the Broncos took him a spot in front of the Cowboys and a spot after J.C. Horn went to the Carolina Panthers. And because of that, I think Denver is going to continue to be mediocre this year with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is better than Drew Lock, but he is by no means a top-tier quarterback. Then again, he did have a really good season with the New Orleans Saints, but Vic Fangio is no Sean Payton. So I don't think the Broncos are going to be very good this year, despite their really good wide receiver core. I'm going to give the Cowboys a W in this one. They'll be 6-2 halfway through the season. Now, here, Atlanta. This could be a big game for Dan Quinn, former coach of the Atlanta Falcons, but at home against the Falcons, a rebuilding team. Sure, they have Matt Ryan still. Sure, they have Calvin Ridley and, of course, Kyle Pitts. So that's very promising for the Atlanta Falcons, of course, and that's how they'll win football games. And, yeah, Randy's in the comment section there. Broncos fan Randy N right there. Broncos will beat the Cowboys. Randy, if the Broncos beat the Cowboys in Dallas in that week there, Randy, it's because the Cowboys suck, not because the Broncos are good. I'm sorry. Same thing, if the Cowboys lose to the Giants, it's because the Cowboys suck, not because the Giants are good. So that's all I have to say there to you, Randy. Yeah, I usually I don't have anything against the Broncos, but I'm a little bit bitter for them taking Patrick Surtain. But Michael Parsons has been phenomenal thus far, so who knows? Maybe it'll work out for the Cowboys. But anyway, yeah. Broncos, if the Cowboys lose to the Broncos at home, it's because they suck, not because the Broncos are good. So, Falcons. Another team where if the Cowboys lose to the Falcons at home, it's because they suck and not because the Falcons are good. So I'm going to give the Cowboys another W here. 7-2 so far. But here's where the schedule gets really tough, or tougher at least. Kansas City on the road. Patrick Mahomes. The Cowboys, their defense, I mean, they're not going to be, I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year, led by Dan Quinn, but they're not going to be able to be good enough to stop Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. Let's give them an L right here. That will be their third loss of the season. So far, 7-3 through 11 weeks thus far. This one, I think, is the Thanksgiving game now. Yeah, the Thursday Thanksgiving game at home against the Raiders. They still have Rod Marinelli. Last year would have been an interesting matchup, but with Rod Marinelli, Malik Collins, Jason Witten, who retired this offseason, the GOAT, Gold Jacket Witt. But this time, again, this is a game that the Cowboys should win at home against the Las Vegas Raiders. But then again, the Las Vegas Raiders have won these they've had these inexplicable wins at weird times. They've had inexplicable losses as well over the course of the last 3-4 years under John Gruden and Derek Carr in that offense. I don't know, man. This is a tough game. This is a tough. You know what? I will say this. They will split the games between the Raiders and the New Orleans Saints. I'll say that. Because, again, this is where the Cowboys always play 3 games in a span of 2 weeks, essentially. They play the Sunday, then the Thursday, then the Thursday. So I would say the Cowboys will split this. They will win against the Vegas Raiders. They'll win against the Vegas Raiders, and they will lose to the Saints on the road. That's going to be a Thursday night game, prime time. I know Saints don't have Drew Brees anymore, but I think Jameis Winston with a coach like Sean Payton, with a great defense, with weapons, with Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, the Saints are going to be what they used to be. Tampa's going to take that division easily, but the Saints could very well challenge for a wild card spot, and they're going to be a tough out, especially, like I said, third game in 2 weeks. The Cowboys will lose at the Saints, or they'll win after losing against the Raiders. So 8-4 are the Cowboys right now through 13 weeks. And then they have a pretty tough matchup at Washington. And I would say Washington they have everything but the quarterback. And Ryan Fitzpatrick could be that quarterback, but he could also be a quarterback that loses them games single-handedly by coughing up interceptions. But I will say this. I love their coaching staff. I love Ron Rivera. I love Jack Del Rio. I love that defense in Washington. And they're honestly, back before they were the football team, when they were the other name, and they were they still have the owner, which is the owner's the owner, but they're a likable team, even though they're in the NFC East. I still cheer against them because they're in the division, but they're a much more likable team these last 2 years than they were in years prior. So I'm going to give the Cowboys the L on this one. They'll be 8-5. This would be a rough stretch. They will have lost 3 games in these last 5 weeks, 8-5 to this point. But then at the Giants, like I said, if you lose to the Giants, Daniel Jones, Jason Garrett, okay, that defense is good. Okay, they'll play hard for Joe Judge. But if you lose to the Giants, I don't care if at home, on the road, on the moon, on Mars, if you lose to the Giants, it's because you suck and not because the Giants are good. So, yeah, the Cowboys will win this game, plain and simple. They'll be 9-5. Then here, Washington again. I don't think that I have a home loss on the schedule yet thus far. Yeah, I think the Washington football team will be the one team that will have the Cowboys, kryptonite this year in the division. And I think it's going to come down to, I just have to merge this over here just so it adds up properly. But yeah, I think it's going to come down to those 2 games against, this is what's going to make the division race close, because the Cowboys are not going to handle Washington well. They lost both games against them last year. Even with Dak, I still see Ryan Fitzpatrick potentially having his best games against the Cowboys secondary. I mean, look, their defense will be better, but I still think this is going to be a game that Cowboys have lost weird games to Washington in the past, and this will be another one. They will be 9-6 at this point in the season. Then here is where things get a little interesting. Kyler Murray coming to AT&T Stadium again. He lit up the Cowboys, not so much with his arm, but with his legs. But I will say this. My opinion could definitely change from here until January 2nd, 2022. But Kyler Murray beat the Cowboys, like I said, with his legs, not as much his arm, and also the running game just gashed the Cowboys. But here's one way the Cowboys will counteract that with their defense: Micah Parsons. Because Micah Parsons will be able to spy and keep up with Kyler Murray. So Kyler Murray in that offense, despite DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk and the receiving core that they have in Arizona and that high-flying offense, I think the league is going to figure out Kyler Murray a little bit more this year. Kyler Murray, I think, lost them more games last year than he won them. Sure, there was the great catch, the DeAndre Hopkins Hail Murray, I guess, in Buffalo. Campbell Wolf, 11-6. We're getting there. It's looking like 11-6, but yeah, I think this is going to be a W for the Cowboys, a hard-fought W to go 10-6. Then against Philadelphia, like I said, this game could be meaningless, but you know what? Cowboys are going to win, and that will put their record to 11-6 this season. Just Dak is going to be phenomenal. I think if Dak stays healthy, the offensive line stays relatively healthy, but look, with the depth or lack thereof that they have at offensive tackle behind Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins, again, COVID could strike anywhere at any time like it did Zach Martin this week. But if the Cowboys have Dak healthy and just, I would say, like half the amount of, if they lose, they could keep half the guys that got injured last year, this year, 11-6 is a very fair prediction, especially with Washington with Philly and New York being the trash of the division. Washington could be a problem, and I think they will be a problem for the Cowboys this year, but I think 11-6 will be their record, and it will win them the NFC East, and maybe not get them the bye, but yeah. And Randy, yes, sweep the Eagles and the Giants and Eagles, yes way, unless the Cowboys are complete trash, because like I said, you lose the Giants and the Eagles because you suck, not because they're actually good. So yes, they will sweep the Eagles and the Giants, but they will get swept by Washington to go 4-2 in the division. But that is round 1 of 3 here on Langer at the Mic with our predictions and our Cowboys content here for today. So as usual, thank you so much for tuning in. And as usual, if you enjoy my commentary, give me a big thumbs up on this video and subscribe to my channel. Give me a follow at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike Langer for all 3. I'm going to be a lot more active across all platforms going forward, especially on Twitter, of course, with my live tweeting and whatnot. But this has been a Cowboys season and record prediction here on Langer at the Mic Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you again next time in just a few minutes.